This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live.
Well, I'm kicking off the new year by sharing my top 10 New Year's resolutions as a teacher. From personal growth to professional development, I'll be counting down the goals I've set for myself to make it 2025 a year of balance, growth, and success. So stay tuned as I dive into how we can make all of this year our best one yet.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live. Tune in live at ttradio.org, or to join in the conversation, download the Podbean app and search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TTRadio. Tune in, talk it out with Teachers Talk Radio.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Late Late Show with me, Chris Wilkinson. Tonight, we're diving into a special New Year's edition where I'll be sharing my top 10 New Year's resolutions as a teacher. So, first off, Happy New Year to you all. I hope you've had a wonderful start to 2025 and that you're feeling ready for all the opportunities and challenges that this year has in store. And it is a big year. It's certainly a big year for anyone who is in A-levels because the review of 2025 is due to be held for certain subjects, and it will continue to roll out for the next 2 or 3 years. So it's the start of a big change again for A-levels. And I'm pleased to say that some of the reviews that I've seen have started to acknowledge that the heaviness of A-levels was becoming a bit detrimental to the progression of learners. So thankfully we are starting to see some realistic specifications being developed, and for my subject, politics, it's likely to be in a couple of years' time, but it does look very promising. And so 2025, for me personally and for my colleagues, is a start of a new point for FE. So we're looking forward to it, and it should be very good. Now, the beginning of a new year is always a great time to reflect and reset, isn't it? And for some of us teachers, we don't actually see January as a new year. We kind of see September as a new year. And I've always been at odds with this, really. I've always been one of those people who kind of have two New Years, really. And we kind of have a New Year's resolution for January personally, but you also have a New Year resolution for September. So you've got almost like an academic New Year as well as a calendar New Year. So it is a very strange time of year to be making New Year's resolutions when you're very much in the throes of your teaching for the year. Okay, it's the second term, but of course you've had that first term to bed in the new students, to develop their, skills, and so by now it seems a bit odd to make a resolution, but I did decide nevertheless to go ahead with this and do a top 10 New Year's resolution show, because I also thought actually personal growth, like I said in the introduction, and personal balance leads to personal success. And of course, it's never a bad time to start doing that individually, personally, and of course, professionally. So it does seem like the right time to be looking at this. And, I've spent some time over the holiday break, which hopefully we all have, thinking about what it is that you want to achieve for this year. And not just as a teacher, like I said, but as a person. So tonight I'll be sharing my resolutions as they are goals that I've set for myself to grow, stay balanced, and create the best possible environment for me, my colleagues, and my students, most principally my students. So, it's going to be a great year, provided that we take the time to develop our growth, and that's what I plan to share with you tonight. So how the show's going to work tonight like most top 10 shows, we'll start with resolution 10 and we'll go all the way to my number one priority for the year. And of course, the number one priority will be revealed towards the end of the show. I certainly don't want to be giving that away just yet. I want to keep you guessing. And of course, I'd love to hear from you along the way. Now, if you're listening live, then you can, by all means, dial in and speak to us and, tell me if you agree with what I'm saying, or if you would like to build on it or balance on it. Please feel free to. But if you are listening on demand, or if you're listening back on any of the platforms, feel free to share your experiences or share your resolutions with me. And what I'm looking for really is, what resolutions have you set for 2025 as a teacher? Are there any goals or changes that you're particularly excited about? Because ultimately, we should be excited about our goals and our resolutions. So if that is the case, you can let me know on X. My Twitter handle is Chris with a capital C. So that's CHRIS _ capital W 1987. So that's at Chris _ W 1987. Or you can find me on LinkedIn under Chris Wilkinson. Now, let's get started with resolution 10. So resolution 10 is to take time for personal growth outside of work. So this one is important to me because as educators, we often put ourselves last, and it's easy to get consumed by the demands of the job. But I've learned that personal growth outside of teaching is crucial, whether it's taking up a new hobby, spending time with family, or just simply relaxing. So I found that it recharges me and it allows me to bring more energy and creativity into my work. So this year, my focus is on my own well-being and to create balance in my life. So my word for 2025 is harmony. And I'm dedicating myself to organizing my time more effectively to make most of my leisure moments. So personal development outside of work is a priority for me, and I encourage other teachers to embrace it too. One of my commitments is learning Italian. So it's something I've always wanted to do because me and my wife and hopefully my children will visit Italy again very soon. And it would be great to use some of that touristy Italian and eventually become actually a bit more au fait with Italian over time. So I learned a few basics this week, like how to say I, loads of different things. So one of them was things like I would like to reserve, because that would be quite a good thing. So I've learned that reservation isn't a word in Italian. In fact, it's prenotation, or rather that would be the equivalent. But when you put it as a infinitive to say to reserve, I would say vorrei prenotare. Vorrei prenotare. There you go. I will make mistakes, but vorrei prenotare. And I learned that this morning, on the drive into work. I sort of had it on an Audible, and I'm doing some practice as I go in, and it's a great time on my own to do some professional growth, some personal growth, before I get to work. So vorrei prenotare un camere a Roma. Is I would like to reserve a room or book a room in Rome. And although in theory it would be more for me Venezia personally, but there we go. That's certainly what I want to be doing in the near distant future. So it's been a rewarding challenge, and it's a reminder that growth isn't just for the classroom, it is for life too. And in fact it's only day 4 of the new thing, but I love it. And hopefully if we were to have a conversation in a couple of weeks' time, perhaps maybe I can give you an update on my Italian, maybe give you a bit more to go on as well. But for now, I'm pleased to say I'm very happy, and I'm very happy to be doing that. So let's move on to resolution 9. So resolution 9 is cultivating better relationships with parents and guardians. So, building strong, supportive relationships with parents is something that I'm passionate about. So, communication with parents can really make a difference in a student's education. Now, this year, I want to make more of an effort to stay connected with the parents, but it's not just when there's a problem. I want to do this on a regular basis. So it will be mainly through emails, to be honest, even if it's just a stock email, just to check in and say, little Billy's doing really well. Just want to let you know. It could just be a stock email like that, but I want to make the time to do that. And I particularly want to do this for the more diligent students in particular that might otherwise fly under the radar. After all, it is about creating a team of stakeholders where everyone works together for the success of the students. And we have a parents' evening coming up, and we always say it's always the wrong parents that come, because it's always the diligent parents that come with the diligent students. But I disagree. I think that's the best parents' evening. And, if we can make more of a contact, perhaps maybe they can do even better. So that's something that I'm entirely focused on doing this year. Okay, let's quickly get in Resolution 8, I think. Let's have a look at Resolution 8. And this is a big one for me, and I think it's a big one for anyone who is in the class really as well. So what I'd like to do for Resolution 8 is to incorporate more of a student voice. So I truly believe in the power of student voice. So when students feel like their opinions matter, they become more engaging in their learning. And this year, I'm planning to give my students more opportunities to have a say in the classroom. So, whether it's through surveys, class discussions, or even just allowing them to choose project topics, involving them in decisions, help them feel more ownership of their education. I just want them to know that their thoughts and feelings are valued. And I'm not saying that they aren't already feeling that, but I just want to really make sure that they know that. And that's a big, big part of my agenda this year. And I've already started actually. So this week, my politics group have been doing a particular thing called voting behaviour, where we have to research three different general elections, and we have to make a decision. And what is the biggest factor that affects voting behaviour? So I choose the years because I've already got a mindset as to what years they need to learn. So we do 1997, 1979, and 2019. Of course, there was an election last year, which we do touch upon as well. But what I said to them was, look, there's a few different ways we can do this. Would you like to research them yourself? I'll give you directions on what you need to research, but would you like to put this into a research project, and you can put this into a booklet, a PowerPoint, however you want to present it, it's up to you. And, they really, really got into that, and they said, no, that we really want to do that. And it really worked. And it just seemed they asked for the research project. It went really well. And as a result of that, they just seemed to get much more learning out of it. And they all decided which election they wanted to do. And then they had to present it to their election to the people who did the other election. And of course, when you're learning once and then you are if you like, you're teaching, you're then learning twice. And it was such a powerful thing, and they just really enjoyed it. And it really made a difference that they were able to do this for themselves as well, and they decided that this is the best way that they learn. So for me, Resolution 8 is started really well, and hopefully we can continue with it as well. So I'm really happy. Really good start to the year. Now, Resolution 7 is one that I kind of already do already, but would very much like to continue this into this year, and in fact even make it a big part of my journey this year as well. So Resolution 7 is to set professional development goals. So as a teacher, I firmly believe that learning and growing never stops. Of course I do. I'm here on this show trying to tell you this, and I'm here on the show with like-minded people who listen to this who also believe this. So it's no surprise that we already think this, but I think it's essential to keep pushing ourselves to evolve, not just for our own sake, but for the benefit of our students, our colleagues, and our leaders as well. So this year, I'm setting clear and intentional goals for my professional development. I want to attend more workshops, dive into more educational books, and experiment with new teaching strategies that I've never tried before. And by doing this, I stay motivated, inspired, and just constantly improve my practice and never feeling like I'm a dinosaur. It's not just about ticking boxes, it's about genuinely striving to be better every day. I also want to grow my LinkedIn network as well this year. So if you're listening and you're not part of my network, please feel free to add me at Chris Wilkinson. And I think LinkedIn can be a fantastic resource for sharing ideas, discovering trends, and finding workshops or collaborations that I might be interested in. And of course, just things I've never came across before either. And there's so many people out there that are just amazing people that I'm yet to meet in my life and in my professional journey, and I would just absolutely love. So again, if you're listening to this and we haven't got a connection, please get in touch and let's get collaborating. Now, the more I invest in my own growth, the better equipped I'll be to support my students and create a classroom environment that's dynamic and engaging and full of possibilities.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Parentkind are a national charity representing parent views and voice and championing parental participation in education and school life. By fostering strong school-parent partnerships, we can boost student attendance, improve behaviour and enhance academic performance. When parents actively participate, students thrive. Join the movement that's reshaping education for the better. Visit parentkind.org to learn more about reaping the rewards of working in partnership with parents.
Are your teachers juggling multiple technology platforms and struggling to keep everything organised? Then Toddle might be the answer. Built by a team of ex-educators, Toddle offers an all-in-one solution for teachers that streamlines everything, from curriculum planning and assessments to communication and report cards. And the best part? Toddle comes inbuilt with an AI assistant that helps teachers save time and improve their practices. 85% of schools replaced 3 or more platforms when they brought in Toddle. Teachers using Toddle say that the platform helps them save up to 10 hours a week. That means more time for what really matters, supporting students and driving academic success. See how Toddle can support your school. Visit toddleapp.com.
Hey education changemakers, ready for something special? It's Bet Show's 40th anniversary and we're throwing a free celebration just for you. Join us at London Excel from January 22nd to 24th to connect, learn and be inspired. Picture this, 300 plus speakers who truly get it, 600 cutting edge edtech companies and all the fresh ideas you need to make 2025 your best year yet. So why wait? Head to uk.betshow.com, grab your free ticket and come celebrate with your peers. Because this is for you. See you at Bet.
Welcome back to the Late Late Show with me, Chris Wilkinson. I am counting down my top 10 resolutions for 2025, and so far I have pledged to take time for personal growth, cultivate better relationships with parents and guardians, incorporate more of a student voice, and set professional development goals. So, without further ado, let's get straight on to resolution number 6. I'd like to reflect on my teaching practices more. So, reflection has always been an essential part of my practice as a teacher. I truly believe it's one of the most powerful tools we have for growth. After each lesson or term, I make it a point, should I say, to step back and critically think about what went well, what didn't, and what I could do differently. This process allows me to adapt and refine my teaching methods to better meet the needs of my students. And sometimes it is actually really obvious what I need to do, and sometimes it isn't. Sometimes things appear to have gone well, and it has to have a little bit of a deep dive into why that is. And sometimes it's difficult just to comprehend what's actually gone well as well as what's gone badly, because sometimes things just click and you think, is it the students on this particular occasion? Is it me? Is it the topic? And it takes time to actually figure that out at times. So no, it's a really difficult thing for me to do, and that's why I like to do it a lot. And one habit that I have maintained all the way through my career so far is, even if it's less common now in further education, I only say further education because that's my setting, but it may be less common in other areas as well. It's creating detailed lesson plans. And while some see this as extra work, and it may even be something for the dinosaur age, I don't know, I still find them incredibly useful. It not only keeps me organized, but it gives me the opportunity to make real-time adjustments when I spot errors or identify areas for improvement. And on the back of my lesson plans, I have the what went well, what didn't, and I don't necessarily do that every lesson, but sometimes if something goes really well, I like to jot it down. Definitely doing that again. And if something didn't go particularly well, it's like, okay, yeah, absolutely, that needs to be fixed for next time. And it's about taking the time to reflect and do that. And in a way, I've put this as one of my resolutions about reflecting on my teaching practice. I don't think I can reflect anymore. I just don't want to get complacent and ever stop doing that. So reflection is always going to be a key part, a critical part of my teaching as well. And like I said, not only does it do that, it gives me that adjustments for real time as well. So this year I am committing to taking reflection even further, though, if I can. I plan to dedicate more time to deeply analyze my practices, to step beyond surface level observations that perhaps maybe we see from the lesson plans, and uncover ways to evolve more as an educator. And it might be back to resolution 7 when I talked about developing myself, maybe having a wider network. Maybe these things will help. Of course they will. So if it is that, then that's the way it is. I don't have the answer to that, but I'm always going to be striving to evolve as well. So striving to evolve is going to be a big part of my year as well. And for me, it's not just about improving. Like I said, it's ensuring that I'm constantly growing and being consistent with my practice, so students have the best chance to thrive in their learning journey, as well as me being forever on my toes and making this job just as interesting and as just as I can't even think of the word, to be honest, just as exciting as possible, as exciting as it can be, of course, but just keep digging for that extra gold, and hopefully it will keep happening. And that's resolution 6. I want to reflect on my teaching practices. Now, resolution 5 kind of links with this, but it is a separate resolution for me altogether as well. So for me, my resolution 5 being brave with new teaching strategies. Now, like I said before, I love trying new things in the classroom. I am more than happy to try something and it fails. Sometimes it can be a low stake thing. Sometimes it can be a high stakes thing where, we look back and think, that lesson could have gone a lot better. But either way, more often than not, these these new things really, really resonate with the learners. And I'm just making a conscious effort to embrace new teaching strategies. Go to a lot of teaching and learning CPD, whether it be internal or external, and they're always telling me, or those telling the people that I go with as well, just how they achieve, what they do. And quite often I'll think, oh, it's a bit brave that, oh, I don't know. But actually, in truth, I find that when we do introduce new teaching strategies, learners will take to it. You know when not to do that, don't you? You know when it's not going to be, you're not going to get someone who is, inherently shy. You're not going to get them running around the classroom doing laps, and every time they do a lap, we're not going to, we've got to be realistic with what we're doing. But there's no reason why, we can't be more brave with teaching strategies. So whether that be using more technology or incorporating project-based learning or flipping my classroom, I'm excited to see what will work best for my students. And change can be intimidating, not just for me, but of course the learners. But I have learned that stepping out of my comfort zone and allowing students to do the same can lead to exciting results. So I'm committed to being open to new ideas and approaches. Now, one of the things I truly enjoy about teaching is the opportunity to try new things in the classroom. So this year I am making a deliberate attempt to do so and to embrace these fresh teaching strategies. And again, whether it is integrating more technology, exploring project-based learning, or this, I'm just eager to discover what resonates best with the learners. And like I said, I found this, and that stepping out of the comfort zone does lead to these results. And that said, I also recognise the importance and balance of foresight as well. So while it's great to be brave in new approaches, I want to ensure that I'm thoughtful about when and how I implement them. And this is the challenge. Some strategies might not be suitable, like I said, for certain groups or situations. So an example of this, I never get students running around, by the way. I don't know where that came from. I had to think about this, and I think, right, what might not be suitable in my politics class, for example. And I thought running a debate with a class at times can be a struggle. It can be a slog, in fact, trying to get students to debate something. Now, the reason why it's a slog is because even though you might teach the nth degree things or skills that will help them develop their debate skills and their skills of evaluation, even though we're already doing that, it's really difficult to get them to be confident sometimes with a particular debate. And debate should be like bread and butter to politics students, because in my particular exam subject, or subject for the exam, what we have to do is students have to pick a subject and they have to get off the fence and decide which argument is the most appropriate. So, for example, if we were to ask the question, let's have a look. What is the thing that's affecting democracy the most in the UK? Some of us might say, well, actually, we need to extend the franchise so younger people can vote. That's their biggest issue. One other person might say, well, actually, we need to make it so that we have more referendums so that more people have the chance to to have their say. Now, they both can't be right in a debate, or rather they both will put forward their points, but they won't necessarily agree with each other. And the idea is they have to defend their argument to the hilt. So they have to do that writing, but it would be absolutely fantastic to get them to debate that in class. But it's developing the ability to have the confidence to do that. And that is so, so difficult to do. Now, it's about knowing when bravery becomes impractical and tailoring my efforts to the needs of the students. So by staying open to innovation, but also grounded in practicality, I hope to strike a balance that truly benefits my classroom for this year. And if I can do that, I believe I've got the answer to the question of, am I doing the best for my students whilst innovating them as well? And of course, it seems like that might be the $64,000 question, but why are we not trying to strive to find the answer to that particular question?
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Parentkind are a national charity representing parent views and voice and championing parental participation in education and school life. By fostering strong school-parent partnerships, we can boost student attendance, improve behaviour and enhance academic performance. When parents actively participate, students thrive. Join the movement that's reshaping education for the better. Visit parentkind.org to learn more about reaping the rewards of working in partnership with parents.
Are your teachers juggling multiple technology platforms and struggling to keep everything organised? Then Toddle might be the answer. Built by a team of ex-educators, Toddle offers an all-in-one solution for teachers that streamlines everything, from curriculum planning and assessments to communication and report cards. And the best part? Toddle comes inbuilt with an AI assistant that helps teachers save time and improve their practices. 85% of schools replaced 3 or more platforms when they brought in Toddle. Teachers using Toddle say that the platform helps them save up to 10 hours a week. That means more time for what really matters, supporting students and driving academic success. See how Toddle can support your school. Visit toddleapp.com.
Hey education changemakers, ready for something special? It's Bet Show's 40th anniversary and we're throwing a free celebration just for you. Join us at London Excel from January 22nd to 24th to connect, learn and be inspired. Picture this, 300 plus speakers who truly get it, 600 cutting-edge edtech companies and all the fresh ideas you need to make 2025 your best year yet. So why wait? Head to uk.betshow.com, grab your free ticket and come celebrate with your peers. Because this is for you. See you at Bet.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News.
As we welcome the new year and see out the old, many of the news stories which have happened in education over the Christmas period will seem familiar. A number of newspapers and news sites give further details of the government's Children and Wellbeing in Schools Bill, which now contains more reform policies directed at schools. For example, no automatic right for children to be educated at home. A unique number identifying children so they can be tracked as they move out of school and into home education. This was highlighted with the tragic case of Sarah Sharif. The bill will also contain a guarantee that all teachers in private education and tutoring, as well as state education, must be working towards or in possession of qualified teacher status. And national pay scales will apply to all schools in England. Possibly the most important is that we may be facing a turning point away from the era of academisation, since the Schools Bill will end the automatic academisation of failing schools. The news site The Conversation, in a long read analysis of the era of academised schools, discusses whether or not they've been a success. With such a variety of academised schools, large academy chains and small, it's very difficult to compare one with another, they conclude. Overall, though, Additional needs students are served better in non-academy schools. And teachers tend to have lower job satisfaction inside academy schools. A related story, which has appeared in The Guardian and the Times Education Supplement, as well as the BBC, concerns Mossbourne School, the standard bearer for the ultra-disciplined school, with chanting students before lessons, silent corridors, and draconian rules applied. A large number of parents at Mossbourne signed an open letter to The Guardian supporting the school, saying that it provided a caring and supportive and successful environment for their students and their children. This was in response to a number of stories in reaction to former teachers at the school and a number of other parents who described the school as psychologically abusive and scary. The debate about this kind of school will no doubt continue and will divide parents and divide teachers during 2025. A story familiar in 2024 is again in the news. Reported by the BBC, the Children's Laureate, Frank Cottrell Boyce, described the enormous equality gap which has been created by Britain's decaying schools. The leaking roofs, the rattling windows, the poor heating systems, and the poor quality of equipment, found mostly and disproportionately in areas of disadvantage. The Children's Laureate notes that this will cause long and lasting damage to these children's lives. And this is supported, as the BBC reports, by the Institute for Fiscal Studies, who found that in the last decade, spending on school buildings was 25% lower than in the previous decade. So no doubt news stories in the year ahead will be further reflections on the consequences of a decade of austerity. One of the most troubling stories which appeared in the Times Education Supplement was in response to a Department for Education survey, which revealed that between January and March of 2024, a quarter of schools reported weapons-related incidents, mostly concerning students bringing knives into school. And 1 in 10 teachers revealed during the same period knife-related incidents in their classrooms. And the survey organisation, Teachers Tap, revealed that in May last year, a quarter of teachers felt that poor behaviour in their classrooms was undermining their well-being. Something many of us have suspected for a long time was also revealed in Teachers Tap, as a survey of the number of detentions given out in the week before Christmas revealed that maths teachers were altogether more likely to give out detentions than art teachers. For all those who remember their maths lessons as being strict and their art lessons as being fun, alas, this supported that stereotype. Teachers Tap also revealed that in the week before Christmas, schools in disadvantaged areas were twice as likely to have given out detentions. And as we enter the new year, a survey in the Times Educational Supplement reveals, unsurprisingly, that only a third of teachers have any confidence that any length of Ofsted inspection is capable of truly and accurately reflecting the quality of a school. And wishing you a happy new year, that concludes the Teachers Talk Radio News for the Christmas period, brought to you by John Gibbs on Teachers Talk Radio.
Welcome back to the Late Late Show with me, Chris Wilkinson. So, I'm counting down my top 10 resolutions for 2025, and before the break, I used resolutions 5 and 6 to reflect on my teaching practices and to be brave in new teaching strategies, basically. Now, I want to move on to Resolution 4. And Resolution 4 tonight is all about promoting student well-being. Now, this year, one of my top priorities is supporting my students' emotional and mental health and creating a classroom environment where everyone just feels safe, valued, and supported is absolutely essential. Now, not just academically, but socially and emotionally too. A supportive environment fosters a sense of belonging, and when they feel like they belong, they're more engaged and ready to learn. And as obvious as that sounds, it's not that easy to achieve. And it's like everything else that we've said so far, you just strive for perfection. It may never come, and you're always going to come across bumps along the road, and challenges are going to sometimes seem like obstacles. But regardless of that, we want to strive for that, don't we? And if we can get if I can get every student in my class to feel that they are supported and that they feel safe, valued, supported, and that environment helps them, then they're more likely to be engaged and ready to learn. And that's all we ever ask for, really. So to achieve this, I plan to integrate a more social, emotional learning system into my lessons and become even more attuned to how my students are feeling. And this comes down to the lesson plans again. It's knowing who I particularly need to give that extra emphasis to on support. And I do this already, but it's always the ones that you work hardest with that will always be the ones that you give the most focus to. And it's the diligent ones that fly under the radar, the ones that really we should be given the same level of treatment to. And I'm guilty of maybe taking for granted how comfortable they are in the class and how happy they are, that we could check in with them a bit more than I do at the moment. And whether it's through thoughtful check-ins, activities that build resilience, or just simply finding moments to bring joy into the classroom, I want to invest more into my students. So, Resolution 4, I want to invest more in my students. Their well-being is the foundation of their success, and I want them to thrive in every sense of the word. Now, evidence-based education released the Great Teacher Toolkit, and what they emphasize is that one of the key aspects is about what makes teaching great is to create that supportive environment. And this is something I take to heart. So when students feel understood and cared for, their potential truly shines. By focusing on this, I'm not only helping my students to succeed academically, but equipping them for the confidence and emotional skills that they'll carry throughout their lives. So this year, I'm doubling down on my commitment to nurture that environment and to get the very best out of my students. Okay, we are down to the business end of the top 10 now, and we are going to go straight on to Resolution 3. So, Resolution 3 is to stay organized and keep planning ahead. Now, notice I use the word keep there. So, I already am planning ahead, but I want to keep planning ahead. So, let's be honest. Teaching can be very chaotic at times. As much as we like to plan, you can't plan all the time for the chaos, and it can be very chaotic. However, I have found that when I stay organized, everything just seems to run just so much more smoothly. And this year, I'm committed to planning ahead more effectively, whether that's through detailed lesson plans, like we said earlier, or just setting clear marking schedules. So I will only mark at certain times. But again, we all know that you can sit down and you might have 10 papers to mark, and it can take 10 minutes to mark them, or it can take 10 hours, depending on your mindset. So it's not always possible to set them clear marking schedules, but I know throughout the years when I feel that I'm more inclined to do the marking and when it's just not going to be the case. And just also, as well as the marking schedules, keeping my desk in order. Now, I already have a tidy space. So that one of my biggest things is I keep my workspace tidy. I always have. It's just part of who I am. But I've realised that there's more I can do to prepare, rather than just keep a tidy desk. It's doing other things as well. And one of the things is making sure that the paperwork doesn't particularly build up in my in tray, and making sure that takes a bit of time. I take a bit of time to make sure that doesn't overspill as well. But one thing that I really need to do, and when I say stay organized and plan ahead, this is my number one thing that I need to make sure happens with Resolution 3. I need to make sure that I manage the absences of students better. Because in A-level teaching, missed lessons can make a real difference, especially since each lesson could potentially be crucial for the exam. This year, I want to put more thought into how I can help students who miss classes catch up efficiently. I plan to create a better system for providing them with the resources they need to stay on track, whether it's through digital platforms or clear, organised handouts. By planning for those absences in advance, I can help my students stay up to date and feel more confident in their studies, even if they've missed a lesson and they feel like they need to catch up. So for me, Resolution 3 is mainly about making sure that every learner or every student is picking up the material even when they've missed that particular class. And that's so important and something that I really need to work on. And that's why it's at number 3. However, let's go on to number 2. So Resolution 2, something that narrowly was pipped by number 1. It could have been number 1, to be fair, but I've made it number 2, is fostering a growth mindset in my students. So this year, I want to help my students embrace every assessment point as an opportunity, even when the challenges grow and become more difficult. As we move through the year, the difficulty naturally increases, from mastering one topic to having to revise and apply knowledge across several topics with a range of command words and complexities. It's easy to get discouraged when things feel more difficult, but the truth is, every step is part of the journey. So it's important for my students to understand that they might not get that elusive A or their equivalent goal right away, and that's perfectly okay. The goal is to see progress, and sometimes that means it will take until the final assessment to achieve their best results. I want them to value the challenge and to see it as a sign of growth, and to understand that the struggle is part of developing their skills. Together, we'll build a classroom culture where resilience and perseverance are celebrated and every challenge is seen as a stepping stone towards success. And honestly, if we achieve that this year as a group, as my groups achieve that, then we have solved the Da Vinci Code. And it is so difficult to achieve that. But I'm hoping that by June, when students come out of that exam, we're feeling a little bit, less, a little bit less like the world is going to fall apart because we got something wrong, because that is possible, and it is possible to feel that way, to more of a, we did it. And how much is that our job? And that's why it's number 2. And I can't wait to see the fruits of our labour come June, when the exams roll round and they come out the exams absolutely buzzing with life. If we can do that, then again, that's my job done.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Parentkind are a national charity representing parent views and voice and championing parental participation in education and school life. By fostering strong school-parent partnerships, we can boost student attendance, improve behaviour and enhance academic performance. When parents actively participate, students thrive. Join the movement that's reshaping education for the better. Visit parentkind.org to learn more about reaping the rewards of working in partnership with parents.
Are your teachers juggling multiple technology platforms and struggling to keep everything organised? Then Toddle might be the answer. Built by a team of ex-educators, Toddle offers an all-in-one solution for teachers that streamlines everything, from curriculum planning and assessments to communication and report cards. And the best part? Toddle comes inbuilt with an AI assistant that helps teachers save time and improve their practices. 85% of schools replaced 3 or more platforms when they brought in Toddle. Teachers using Toddle say that the platform helps them save up to 10 hours a week. That means more time for what really matters, supporting students and driving academic success. See how Toddle can support your school. Visit toddleapp.com.
Hey education changemakers, ready for something special? It's Bet Show's 40th anniversary and we're throwing a free celebration just for you. Join us at London Excel from January 22nd to 24th to connect, learn and be inspired. Picture this, 300 plus speakers who truly get it, 600 cutting edge edtech companies and all the fresh ideas you need to make 2025 your best year yet. So why wait? Head to uk.betshow.com, grab your free ticket and come celebrate with your peers. Because this is for you. See you at Bet.
Welcome back to the Late Late Show with me, Chris Wilkinson, and we are now at number 1. So, as a recap of what I've said so far, my top 10 from 10 to 2 has been quite a journey, and it's something that we'll continue to develop over time. But number 10, like I said, right at the top of the show, number 10 was to take time for personal growth outside of work. Then said number 9 was to cultivate better relationships between parents and guardians. Number 8 was to incorporate more student voice. Number 7, to set professional development goals. Number 6 is to reflect on my teaching practices. Number 5 is being brave with new teaching strategies. Number 4 was to promote student well-being. Number 3 was to stay organised and plan ahead. And finally, number 2 was to foster a growth mindset amongst my students. Now, I'm going to keep this rolling. Number 1, and what I would say is the biggest one for all teachers, is to prioritise self-care. Now, this has become my top priority because I've learned the hard way that if I don't take care of myself and I'm not able to be the best teacher or the best person for my students, then I can't be the best person for myself either. So whether it's carving out time to relax, setting boundaries, or making room for moments of joy throughout my day, self-care is absolutely non-negotiable for me this year. I want to show up and be the best version of myself, not just for my students, but for my family and for me too. Now, I did something big today. I decided that I was going to have lunch in the staff area instead of in the staff room. And that's only a small thing. But I decided that I wanted to step away from the computer and step away from an environment where I might find myself, I don't know, having a knock on the door, a student comes and sees you. All these things can wait till after the break. And I found myself going down to the staff area and just chatting with colleagues, and absolutely love spending time with colleagues. And it was a great chance to spend time with colleagues without there being any pressures of work. There was no talk about work at that particular time. It was just a nice conversation. I talked to somebody about running, want to do the Great North Run this year again, and one of my colleagues from the staff room came down to join me at a later point, and we were just chatting about general things. And it would be great if we could transform the staff room into that at lunchtime, so we could have that hour of just low stakes conversations and just having lunch. But of course, that isn't going to be the case in that particular environment. So I took myself away, and I just felt so much better for it. And I think I was a better colleague to people for the rest of the day because I had that bit of break. And again, it's not just about me. I want to create a culture of self-care within my department or within my school. We work hard and we deserve to enjoy those little moments of fun together. And unfortunately, we missed out on the Christmas party this year because we left it too late, and there was just circumstances that couldn't be helped. And it's just a shame because we absolutely love time together, and like I said, we work hard and we deserve to have them moments. And I'm committed to changing that. I want my colleagues to feel like that we're friends, and I like that we all make time to unwind, laugh, and recharge together. Because we go through a lot together, and we should have fun together as well. So this year, I'm all about encouraging a healthier balance that includes bringing some fun and camaraderie to our department as well, because after all, we're all really fun people who have a lot of fun together when we do get the chance to be off the clock. So I really want to do that this year, and self-care is non-negotiable anyway, but it would be great to have that, for that self-care to be widened to the department as one organism as being self-care as well. We help each other out a bit more as well, and I would really love that to be the case. And as colleagues, we owe that to each other as well. And that brings the end of tonight's show, really. So that is my 10 resolutions, and I've gone from 10 to 1. So number 1 is that self-care, and if we prioritize that, then number 2 kicks in, number 3, number 4, right the way up to number 10 as well. And every single one of them are important to me, and I have got myself a diary, a journal, just to keep going with it this year. And I would love, maybe at the midpoint of the year, to clock in and just tell you how I'm getting on with things as well. And by that point, we should have an idea as to how the results are going, how the exams are going, students, and really just making sure that from now until the end of the year, that I put all these actions in place so that I can work hard, but also enjoy my leisure time hard as well. So thank you very much for joining me on Teachers Talk Radio tonight. I hope that these resolutions have given us some inspiration for making 2025 your best year yet. And remember, it's all about growth, balance, and making positive changes for ourselves and our students. And Happy New Year once again. And let's make it a great one. And let's make sure that at the end of the academic year, that we are less about the horrors that can occur when we don't give ourselves a lot of time and a lot of patience to do things. And let's make it a year where we're doing it instead. So, as always, I'm Chris, and this has been Teachers Talk Radio, and thank you very much. Until next time.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.